Welcome to the BeFit Blueprint Podcast. We're your hosts, Cody Israel and Brad Durham. For all you BeFit members and beyond, this is where we break down the blueprint to building a healthier, stronger you. In every episode, we share actionable tips, expert advice, and real stories to inspire you to level up your mind, body, and lifestyle. Whether you're just taking your first step or pushing for the next breakthrough, we've got the tools to get you there. What's up, BeFit, and everyone else out there in the potosphere? Is that even something that's real?
Can't say I've heard that. That's a first for me.
That's a new name. I came up with something new. I'm Brad. This is Cody. I'm stepping in on the show today with Cody because I've got some great questions that I want answered before we go any farther.
What questions? What does this pertain to, Brad?
Well, there's a certain new little pretty girl that's in your life now. What's her name?
Her name is Margaret. We call her Margot, or sometimes you'll hear me and Jade call her Marco, because before she was born, Jello, our 6-year-old, was mispronouncing and calling her Marco, so we'll call her Marco every now and again.
So am I allowed to use my bad English sometimes and call her Marco also?
Yep, that's fine with me.
Okay, because we all know English is like my fourth language and I can't speak it.
She won't respond to it right now, so it's probably fine.
Okay, so Marco. Alrighty, so a couple questions from a dad to a dad. This is like your first baby. First, have you been pooped on?
No. But yesterday I was notified that Jade was pooped on. She was in the midst of changing the diaper because it was a dirty diaper, and then in the midst of it, just projectile poo just right on her. Even with no warning.
Great job, Margo.
Warning.
Great job, Margo. Okay, so one, you've not been pooped on. Two,
I did get very first diaper I changed in the hospital. I was changing it after she had pooped, and she did start peeing.
Attaboy.
But I just covered it up with the wipe. It was fine. It's fine.
See, I didn't know that. I got peed on. I never thought about that.
Yeah, well, I had him right next to me. I'm like, well, I'm not going to get peed on, so I just covered it up.
Just
it's like a little fountain.
For boys, they make little teepees to cover that up.
That's what I heard. I heard about that. I don't know if Gina told me that or somebody told me that.
I think my wife did. I think Heidi told you about
somebody told me about that.
Yeah. I guess it can work for girls too, kind of,
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so that's the second question. Third question. How is the whole bottle feeding? Have you strapped on a fake boob or anything?
No, none of that yet. She does pretty good just taking a bottle when it's given to her just because it comes out faster. It's just instant gratification.
Nice.
I mean, even the slow drip ones, you don't have to work as hard as you do on a boob.
That's true. That's true.
It's a quicker flowing resource of energy for her.
So what was your experience when Jade was in delivery? Were you like the stressed out dad, like, what do I do? What do I do? Were you the chill dad, like, okay, honey, it's going to be great?
What do you think? Take a guess.
I think you were probably the chill dad, but I kind of want to think you were the a little nervous kid, a little bit like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen?
No, I was very chill.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. The nurse was like, This is your first baby? I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I thought this was like your third baby. You're just hanging out over there, just a chill guy. So no, I mean, when she needed me to, I pressed on her hips and rubbed her back, but I was pretty chill. I just kind of going with the flow on whatever I was told to do.
Man, did you eat any cheeseburgers while you were waiting?
No, because it all went pretty quick.
Really?
We were only once we got into our room at like 3:30. I mean, it was done by 8 o'clock. So Mike Holden, shout out to Mike Holden. He did bring us some Mexican though. Ooh. So in the group message, he was at Los Compadres, and I was like, hey, you want to be a pal and deliver some food to the hospital?
So you're telling me Jade ate Mexican within 3 hours of having the baby?
It was probably 2 hours or so after, yeah.
Good job, Jade.
Yeah, because I was like, and I texted him when he was on his way, I was like, hey, if I don't respond, here's my mom's phone number. She's in the waiting room. Call her and give her the food.
Nice.
And it just so happened, we were in the process of birthing a baby, and so Mike called my mom and dropped out the food to them, and got the food.
Hey, that's what an HMB banker does for you right there, and a friend.
Comes in clutch.
Exactly. All right, so next question. Or actually, let me tell you my experience real quick. So when we had Anaya, and I don't think you had this. I don't think you did this either. When we found out we were having a girl, I took a day off.
Which this is your first, right?
This is our first. Yeah, Anaya is our first daughter. I took a whole day off because I was just like, I don't know what to do with a girl. Did you ever have those feelings?
No, because we already have. Now I didn't have the young female, a baby girl, but I mean I have experience from like ages 3 up, so it's like if I can figure out the first 3 years, once they hit 3, I could figure it out. Like surely I can figure out the first 3 years. It won't be that hard, will it?
You're impressive because I had to just literally like almost like wrap my mind around this. I was going to have a daughter. I had no idea what to do. I mean, we have 10 cousins. The oldest and the youngest are girls. The rest of us are all boys. And my brother and my mom is not a very girly girl. I was stressed. So good job to you.
Well, I mean, neither one of the girls is kind of a girly girl, but like my wife is not a girly girl. Like we just kind of, I don't know, just kind of flying by the seat of the pants and figuring it out as you go. It's kind of way of going about it.
And then whenever we were at the hospital at North Kansas City, the grill was open. So I think I had cheeseburgers, breaded mushrooms, and cheese sticks, all within the like 10-hour period that we were there. And Heidi told me, if you bring one more piece of food in this room, I'm going to punch you. Did you not do that? Did you not have any of those?
I went and got us for lunch while we were in the waiting room. We ordered Subway, and I went and got Subway. We got some sandwiches. Jade was craving a sandwich. Yeah, and then that was about it the whole time. So
man, you did not get in trouble. All right, so last thing here. As a dad, what was your first reaction when you saw baby Margot?
First reaction. It's like, wow, that thing is purple. It's like, come out. It's like, what is that?
Yes. What is that?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Like I didn't cry. They were my eyes watered, and like when you hear them start to cry, and it's like, man, we made that. It's probably most of it, but I don't know if I could pinpoint like a specific emotion that I felt. I mean, probably just joyful more than anything. That the story of life is just crazy how you create a human out of 2 cells. And it's just, when I think about stuff like that, I'm like, man, how does this even happen? How is this possible?
Hey, when they talk about it's a miracle, that's God's blessing right there.
So stuff like that. I'm always very like taken back at like stuff like that, when like to actually wrap your head about how forming a human happens. Yeah. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Absolutely insane.
That is,
and how everything majority of the time happens perfectly.
Yeah. Well, and it's in Psalms where it talks about, I knew you when I knit you together in your mother's womb. I mean, that's God's handiwork right there.
Yeah.
And that's so cool to see that baby come out. The joy that you felt is awesome. And, man, we can't wait to watch Margot grow up and watch you guys be parents. And, when she gets to be 8th grade, bro, mine will be out of the house. So I'll have some stories, maybe a few tips for you.
Well, don't forget, we have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old before this as well. So
that is true. I didn't think about that. So you might be more well-versed than I am.
We'll see. We'll see how things go.
Awesome. Well, hey, everybody out there, stay tuned for Cody and Kaylee. They're going to talk about gratitude, which, hey, having a baby, there's a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, that's going to wrap into this.
All right.
The BeFit Blueprint is brought to you by the Colony House, where furniture shopping is as comfortable as the pieces you'll find there. With the best selection of furniture and mattresses, they make it easy to love coming home after a long day of crushing your goals. Want to elevate your living space as much as your fitness goals? Head to Riverside and Frederick for a personalized shopping experience you'll actually enjoy at the Colony House in St. Joseph.
What is up, BeFit? Welcome back to the BeFit Blueprint, episode 6. I'm your host, Cody Israel, on this episode with our guest, Kaylee Stewart, our nutrition coach.
Happy to be here again, Cody.
Oh, yeah. Lots happened since last time we've been on this show.
Yes, we are at BeFit so blessed. We're talking about gratitude today. Talk about gratitude to have a beautiful baby Margot that's hanging out at our gym. Born to Cody and Jade just a couple weeks ago.
Yep, she is a doll. Yep, you heard a little bit about it with talking with me and Brad from our dad perspective, but just super grateful she's here, super grateful she's healthy, and everything's going pretty smooth with her.
Beautiful olive complected baby.
Thankfully, she got Jade's complexion and not mine.
She does look a little bit like Cody, though. She does. So she's a perfect combination of both of them, I feel like.
Yep. So had a baby born. Got a few more babies on the way here at Be Fit. Actually, I guess we had Chris Cunningham and Marissa Cunningham.
Yes.
Shout out to them. They had a fresh baby born as well, about a week before Jade and I's baby. And we recently completed Murph, which you'll hear a little bit about later on in the podcast. But Kaylee?
I'm still suffering the consequences.
Still suffering the consequences.
Although I have to tell you, Cody, I feel like I'd rather do my scaled, partitioned version of Murph than Bulgarian split squats.
Those will get you. Those that don't
awful.
know, those are on our Wednesday cycle of heavy day right now, and people are loving them. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're really good for me, but it's just way out of my comfort
Yeah,
zone.
you had the whole family here on Murph, didn't you?
Yeah, we did, and everyone did the whole thing. Of course, we all did kind of our own versions of it, and my sweet daughter-in-law to be said, "Oh, I don't think I'll be able to keep up," and the little stinker beat me. But
did Ellie do all 20 rounds?
She's an amazing athlete. Yeah, she's really tough. So her and Hayden and
how's Hayden
Greg,
feeling? I haven't seen him since then, but
I think
feeling
he's
pretty
planning
rough.
on coming in today.
Okay.
Yeah. We were all tired. We all just laid around the house all day after doing that.
Yeah, it was a great community event. I don't
It
know.
was.
I don't know what the total head count was that we had here, but I would venture to say close to 200 people, or give or take a little bit. But it was
Great
super
weather too. It wasn't hot.
beautiful weather.
No rain. It was great.
Yeah, rain stayed away.
Yeah.
Super grateful for everybody here at the gym that made that happen.
Yes.
Speaking of gratitude, we are on our third episode of the 5 things you should do every day, and these will be the final 2 things that we are going to cover. The first one being gratitude.
Yeah, and I think that this may be, I don't want to say easy, but one of the simplest
Yes.
of the 5 things that you should do every day, because you can literally do this as you're doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking about toxic positivity when we're talking about gratitude. We're basically talking about expecting adversity and embracing it.
Oh yeah, and I think that's one thing I try to do is finding the silver lining or the positive way to spin something that happens. Even something negative, I should say. I feel like there is always a silver lining, or like it could always be worse.
Yeah,
like,
and there's usually a purpose for the if you want to call it pain. There's usually a purpose for it.
And
so.
you said it's one of the easiest.
Simplest.
Not easy.
Yeah,
but that's what I would say. One of the simplest things to do, but I would think it's also one of the most overlooked things in people's day-to-day life, in their, fitness life journey as they continue to grow as a person. I feel like that this is a lot of times on the back burner.
And I think that there's these there's what's called pro-social skills, which are basically social competencies, things like interacting harmoniously with others, gratitude, that sort of thing. And then there's you think of defense mechanisms. So if you think of this teeter-totter between pro-social skills and defense mechanisms, I feel like gratitude can really put some levity on the side of the pro-social skills, giving us just a better outlook emotionally. It can help lower your body's inflammation, cortisol. We talked before about sleep. Gratitude can help you sleep better.
Yeah, before going to bed, I would highly recommend it before going to bed and waking up, but especially before going to bed. I think a lot of times people are so stressed out because, a lot of times in our lives, everything is go, 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 go now. We never stop. We never take time to take a deep breath, relax, and reflect on the positive things, the things that are in our life that we are grateful for. And doing that, especially at a time before bed when our mind's usually running, can help calm those nerves, bring that heart rate down, and allow you to kind of get in that parasympathetic state and get better sleep.
I think if you're laying in bed at night and you're thinking about all the stressors or all the things you have to do tomorrow, if you can kind of flip that script and reflect back on the day and all the things that you're grateful for, your body is just going to automatically slow down. And I don't want to say it's more boring, but it kind of is, to think about what already happened than what might happen when you're manifesting things. So it kind of just makes you calmer, kind of makes you relax a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, and a couple things that daily meditation is great for, it enhances your memory. So helps you remember things better, especially, and I think that's also related to sleep, because we know getting more sleep also helps enhance your memory, increases your attention span, which day-to-day lives, all of us at work, we need to have that attention span to keep us going at work, or, that's where we kind of day gaze and kind of get a little sluggish there in the afternoons. Decreases your negative mood. And I think that kind of goes to what Kaylee was talking about. All that does is I think it just makes you reflect on all the good that is happening in your life. And I think that just sets the tone of your mindset.
Yeah, and I actually heard this very interesting thing, that it could also make you more open to feedback. So if you had somebody that was giving you constructive criticism, maybe it's your boss or whoever you work with, just having this mindset of, hey, they care about my growth, or they know I can do better. If you look back on it like that, it can really change how you react to the situation.
Yeah, for sure. And then, since we are a gym and we want to talk about fitness, it can also help with your relationship with exercise, just because being grateful for what your body can do and what your body's capable of, will help you, I don't want to say help you stay more consistent with exercise, but it will help you appreciate it more, and which in turn will, I guess, motivate you or create some discipline to continue on your fitness journey.
Hey, it's Brad and Cody. We are back here, and we just finished up the Murph this past Monday.
Oh yeah, that was a fun time.
And you came out and you rocked it, dude. You did the whole thing.
Yeah. I would say this year I took it less seriously than as I have in the past, because I know my journey with fitness is ever evolving, and I have been really serious before, and I've been super lax, and now I'm in the phase where I'm pretty relaxed about it. I can do a little bit and still maintain my level of fitness relatively well. And so this year I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go through at a decent pace, but I'm gonna go through the motions, make sure I'm doing all of the things. And for those of you that don't know, Murph is a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and a mile run. You can break it up however you want. I did 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats at a time. And by the time I got to the second mile, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to walk this second mile. I'm not going to push it. I've went pretty hard so far. I'm just going to walk.
Nice. I mean, a similar thing for me. I remember the first time Heidi and I did it 12 years ago, maybe 13 years ago, and we couldn't hardly complete it. We were doing pull-ups with rubber bands and all these things. I was dying. I didn't walk for 3 days. And so I slowly progressed to where I know I did it one time, unpartitioned with the vest, the quote RX version. And that was about 3 years ago. And I was like, I don't ever want to do this again this way.
That's how I am.
Yeah, and I think that took me an hour and 8 minutes, and I walked 90% of the last mile.
Yeah.
Hey, here's the deal. So I was saying kind of thing, I got a great workout. I did 1 mile run, 10 rounds of it, but I did 5 push-ups, 5 pull-ups, 5 push-ups, 15 air squats, 1 mile run, did 10 rounds of that, and then did the second mile. And felt like, as I was running, I was thinking about those who've, sacrificed, those who've given their lives, and just super grateful for them. And I thought about my brother, who's been in the service now for 23 years, and just the wars he was in, and just, man, just super thankful for the country we live in, despite all the craziness we have.
Absolutely, for sure.
So, all right, guys. Well, hey, Cody and Kaylee back talking about gratitude.
On Memorial Day.
I mean, and let's face it, when you feel good, you perform good. So I feel like if it helps you mentally, it will definitely give you an edge physically as well.
Yeah. And there was actually a recent study that I read on Science Daily. It was a new study showing that daily mindfulness paired with an exercise tracker, like a Garmin watch or a Fitbit or anything, it boosts people's desire to exercise.
I would say that's
pairing those
true.
Together. I assume that, I don't know, this is a hypothesis. I would think that those people that are doing that daily gratification with the exercise they're reflecting on how they feel and how exercise makes them feel, whether it be mentally, physically, and they're noticing a positive correlation with that exercise and their mood and everything else. And I assume that helps create that desire to keep exercising.
Yeah, and I can tell you firsthand experience, honestly, yesterday I went to walk with a friend, and I was tired from the Murph, and I didn't really want to walk, but I really wanted to walk with my friend. And so I was looking at the stress level on my watch, which I look at, this body battery stress level thing. And I thought, wow, I don't even know if I have the energy to do this. But literally the 3-mile walk that I had with my close friend, my body battery and stress level actually filled up and got better because of that outside time with my friend.
Yep.
Even though I don't really want to say taxing my body, but moving. So it's just amazing how the power of community and outside and connection can really impact your stress
for sure.
levels. Yeah.
And also like being gratitude, and we can even wrap, prayer into this. It can lead to higher feelings of feeling loved and enhancing like positive emotions through like just in your daily life, and we can use kind of like prayer as an example here. Being able to, I know a lot, I would say, because it is for me sometimes too, being able to talk about, problems, issues that are going on, and being able to talk about those in prayer, I think helps relieve a little bit of burden and stress on you, which can help lower your anxiety and stress levels.
And it's not when we're called as Christians to give thanks in all circumstances, I don't think that's a denial of hardship, but more like an act of trust in God's sovereignty. So, praying can just really kind of, you can give it to God, and it can know that it's in His hands and He's taking care of it. And
there's countless times in my life that things just happen to work out sometimes, and when certain things like that happen, I just look back and I'm like, wow, it couldn't have happened any more like perfect or lined up like. And it's almost like, man, we got lucky there. But it's like, well, I don't know if we got lucky or, if we were just, someone was looking out for us.
Absolutely. I've seen that a lot. And I've also seen a lot of my friends and close loved ones get through a lot of really tough situations with a lot of prayer. And it's really kind of the answer to their distress.
Yeah. So now let's kind of transition to how to start implementing gratitude in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, so I found on calm.com the 4 A's of gratitude: appreciation, acknowledgement, admiration, and affection. And appreciation, I think that's self-explanatory. Acknowledgement is consciously acknowledging the good things around you, whether it be your friends, your family, your pets, your job, your home, your material things, or even situations. And then admiration, admiring the skills and qualities of others and yourself. So even acknowledging what you might be good at or what you do well. And then affection, clearly showing love and fondness for people and things that have a positive impact on your life.
Yeah.
Those are just the 4 A's. But yeah, as far as implementing gratitude, Cody, what do you think?
The BeFit Blueprint is brought to you by Bratton Dental Company, where your smile is our priority. At Bratton Dental, we combine state-of-the-art technology with personalized care to give you the confidence you deserve. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic and restorative treatments, our expert team is here to help every step of the way. Ready to love your smile? Visit BrattonDentalCo.com today and schedule your appointment. Bratton Dental Company, bringing life to your smile.
I always tend to go back to reflecting on the day you had, like even if you had a good day, bad day, reflecting on it, and just, one, you made it through the day, and then just look back and find some positives in that day that you are grateful for that happened, and maybe you're just thankful that you made it through that day, but nonetheless, that is a positive thing that happened during that day.
Yeah, I think that's a really great thing to do at the end of the day. Make a list of things that you're grateful for. That can
and even write it down.
Yeah, you can write it down. You can tell people if you're grateful for somebody, tell them.
Yeah.
I've also seen things on social media where people are posting what they're grateful for, whether it's their kids or their family. Verbalize it, say it out loud, make a list in the morning or make a list in the evening. Write these things down that you're thankful for. You can also make it a challenge, like a 30 or 45-day challenge to write out 5 things every day that you're grateful for, just to get in the practice of it.
Yeah, and this is something I would encourage. All of these things, obviously, we want you to do every day. That's the whole point of this series. And one way to make that a little bit easier is it's called habit stacking. I learned this in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Is maybe you do get up in the morning and you say what you're grateful for. You go to bed, you say what you're grateful for. Pair that with something else. It's every time you get done brushing your teeth, you go write down the 3 things you were thankful for that day. Make it a habit, and it's easier to create that habit if you pair it with something else that you already do every day.
Yeah, that's true.
So being mindful about making this a constant thing that you do. Just like a lot of us, we will do some form of exercise every day, whether it's walking or in the gym lifting weights. Make this a part of your daily habit as well.
And if you've ever suffered a bad injury, you know how when you reflect back. I just talked to my daughter who had an ACL tear earlier this winter. How she said she would never take exercise for granted again. So just being grateful, even though you might complain about the workout, it's not what you wanted to do, it's too hard, it's whatever, grateful that you can do it.
That is me every time I get sick. Yeah. Every time I get one of the man colds that come around, right after I get over it, I'm like, man, I'm really taking for granted how good I feel when I am healthy and how not good I feel when I'm sick.
That's when I had my rotator cuff surgery on my dominant arm, and I had to learn how to eat and brush my teeth and do my makeup and everything with my left hand. I thought, man, I'm never going to take that right hand for granted again.
Yeah. But I bet, even doing that, I bet now if something were to happen, having that already happen to you have a different outlook and a different, set of eyes on how to look at challenges and struggles when they happen, when they inevitably happen.
Makes you mentally tough when you go through adverse things.
Yeah.
Because you see that you can get through it, and whatever happens, you can get through it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, and now the final thing on our 5 things you should do every day is get hydrated. All right, and what we mean by that is consuming anywhere from a half gallon to a gallon of water a day. Now, we would love to see you closer to that gallon of water a day, but the half gallon, we'll take what we can get.
It's kind of like protein. If you're not used to drinking a lot of water, you might have to just, as Cody takes a drink, you might have to gradually increase that water intake. And I really see this a lot of times with clients. If you're trying to lose fat, it's imperative that you drink a good amount of water. And heading into summer as we are now, also really, really important.
Yeah. And like you said, with clients that are trying to lose weight, there's studies that have came out that drinking more water can lead to increased weight loss in a calorie deficit compared to that same amount of calorie deficit. So if someone, for example, is in a 500 calorie deficit and they're losing 1 pound of body weight and they're not drinking that much water, versus someone who's at a 500 calorie deficit and drinking more water, they are losing a little bit. Maybe they're losing 1.2 pounds of fat or of weight as throughout the diet, on average. So what the mechanism is, I'm not sure. Maybe it's they're getting up to go to the bathroom more often and they are getting more movement in throughout the day, or that water is helping keep them more full and they're eating less food overall. I'm not sure.
I think it just, your body needs so much water. It just helps all your processes run smoother. Your digestion, everything. I think everything just runs smoother when you're hydrated.
Well, yeah, and it helps your muscles fire, properly. Like your muscles and everything need water to essentially be able to fire at will or when needed, when called upon. So being able to do that requires you to be hydrated. And, when it comes to exercise, it's even, I would consider it even more important. Like for people that work out super early in the morning, either getting up and drinking a couple glasses of water will greatly benefit your workout in the morning time.
We all wake up in a dehydrated state. If you think about, Cody and I are advising you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, then you haven't had anything to drink in at least 7 to 8 hours, unless you woke up in the middle of the night and had a drink. But yeah, most of us wake up in a really dehydrated state, so it's really important to front load as soon as you wake up. Before you have the coffee, before you do anything else, just drink a glass or two of water.
Yeah, and that saves you from having, if you're trying to hit a certain amount of water per day, that saves you from, at the end of the night, having to chug a bunch of water, and that just causes you to get up more in the middle of the night and interrupt your sleep and go to the bathroom then.
Yeah, I personally try to drink most of my water in the beginning, before dinner time. After dinner, I don't drink a ton of water. But earlier in the day, I try to drink a lot.
Yeah, that comes back to that 3-2-1 rule,
Yeah.
No water or no liquids, 2 hours before bed, after that.
I don't know that I'm quite that tight, but I definitely.
I'm not either.
I probably back off. Usually after dinner, I don't drink as much.
That's how I am as well.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of with the exercise, how important it is when it comes to exercise, when it comes to cognitive benefits like brain function and memory and all of that. Research states that even just a 2% decline or 2% like dehydrated state negatively affects your cognitive performance.
I would believe that.
And that 2%, that is not a very big amount. Like just even slight dehydration will affect, essentially your brain in a negative way. And
I think a lot of people that are chronically dehydrated aren't really even aware of what it feels like to be hydrated.
And I would agree with that, because they probably, like you said, are chronically dehydrated, so they're just used to kind of feeling however they feel when they're dehydrated. Maybe they feel crappy, but they don't realize it because that's just how they always feel.
Right. I mean,
they don't know what better feels
like. It can help with brain fog and, like we said, digestion, constipation,
mood.
All those things. Yes, all of it.
The BeFit Blueprint is sponsored by Precision Metalworks. Attention, makers, creators, and doers. When precision is key, you need a partner you can trust. That's where Precision Metalworks comes in. With decades of experience crafting high-quality custom metal components, they bring your vision to life with precision engineering, unbeatable craftsmanship, and a commitment to excellence. Whether you're in aerospace, automotive, or looking for that one-of-a-kind custom project, they've got the tools and experience to get it done the right way the first time. Don't settle for less. Choose Precision Metalworks, where innovation meets precision. Visit precision-metal-works.com today, and let's build something amazing together.
So some signs that you might be dehydrated would be like, obviously, thirst. If you're thirsty, you're probably a little dehydrated. Dark urine, you get that really dark yellow kind of lemon lime Gatorade color.
Yeah.
You're probably dehydrated.
Unless you're taking a B vitamin. Sometimes
But I would still venture to say drink some more water.
Yes, definitely.
Fatigue, just general fatigue throughout the day. If you're feeling just kind of bleh, kind of drowsy, I would tell you to drink some water, and obviously if that doesn't help, then maybe something else needs to be addressed, but that's something easy that you can do to see if that does help. It's not going to hurt anything.
Headaches as well.
Headaches are a big one. Like headaches, like midday or mid-morning time, that's when I know that I haven't drank enough water. That's usually when I put an LMNT in my water and get some electrolytes and pound that down, and a lot of times that just resolves the issue.
Yeah, and I think a less common symptom can also be water retention.
Yeah,
if you're actually bloated or hanging on to a lot of water, it may seem counterintuitive, but you could be dehydrated because your body is like hanging on to the water it does have.
Yeah, because if you're not giving it any, your body is made of 70% water. If you're not giving it any water, it's going to do everything it can to hang on to as much of it as it can, so it can function. Just like
the metabolism, like it's in survival mode. It'll hang on. So if you struggle with water retention, you might try drinking more water, which I know might seem counterintuitive, but it can help.
Yeah. And and we talked about this briefly on the 5 thing, or the very first one of this, like, people have asked, like, our coffee or caffeine and stuff like that, diuretics. Now, I think we had different answers.
Well, I am going to say that I do think caffeine is a diuretic. Now, do I think it's dehydrating? maybe in a large amount is what I would say. I do think it's a diuretic. I do think it causes you to have more frequency to go to the bathroom. But I don't know that 1 cup of coffee or whatever would necessarily be overly dehydrating.
Yeah.
If you have an average state of hydration.
Yeah. Oh, that okay.
Yeah,
So I would.
yeah,
Yeah. So if you are dehydrated, drinking a cup of coffee will hydrate you in the moment.
Right,
in a sense,
right,
yes.
Right, but it
Yes.
does cause you to lose more water.
And I would say do not rely on flavored beverages or caffeinated drinks or anything like that to get all of your hydration.
No. I think I read on Healthline that it said if you consume under 500 milligrams of caffeine a day, then it's not dehydrating. But they said anything over that was considered dehydrating.
I think
I think that's what I saw on Healthline.
I think that probably depends on like one's body weight.
Well, it might, and it also might depend on the order you drink that caffeine in. I guess if you drink it, all at once or throughout the course of the day.
Let's see. This is the general guidelines. A safe and effective range for caffeine intake based on body weight is generally considered to be 2.5 to 4 milligrams of caffeine per kilogram of body weight.
Oh, wow. I've never seen that.
So let's see here. Let's do some math.
It's like
I'm
protein,
curious.
Huh?
Do some math. So
Yeah.
let's see. I'm about 91 kilograms. So I do 91 times 2.5. My low end would be 227, which I think on a regular basis I come in below that. Usually my max is about 200 grams
That's not
of
bad.
caffeine a day. I try to keep myself like sensitive to it because it's just like anything. The more you drink, the more it's just like a drug. Caffeine is like a drug.
Well, and just like all these things we're talking about, hydration, nutrition, everything else, if you're relying on caffeine to make it through the day, you probably need to take a deeper dive into some other things you're doing.
You have a problem.
Yeah.
Not calling out anybody's names that might be in this room. She's not even paying attention to this. But no, I think that probably wraps up. Like,
real quick, I think we're going to talk about heading into summer here. Who has increased hydration needs?
Yes.
So if you are an endurance athlete, and I know my daughter, like I said, plays college soccer. If you are competing in long endurance events, you definitely have increased hydration needs. And actually just talked to Jade this morning, breastfeeding mom. She was talking about how thirsty she is.
Yep. Well, even like endurance, I would even just wrap anyone who works out into that.
In general,
Even though you may not be like sweating, like water dripping from your body is still expelling water.
Yeah.
So anyone who works out, I would consider upping your water intake a little bit more than what you would on a normal day.
I think so too. And really when you're thinking about hydration, endurance athletes, that's really when you start thinking about needing electrolytes.
And I would even, members, our BFit members that listen to this podcast, like especially in the summertime, y'all know how warm it gets in here and how humid it can get in the gym. Prepare especially if you're someone who works out in the afternoon, like prepare yourself. It's going to be a little warm. Front load some hydration earlier in the day, and your workouts will probably feel better than they traditionally would if you're not as hydrated.
Agreed. And older adults, if you're 60 and up, there's been studies that have shown that they have a decreased sense of thirst. Mm-hmm. So just really try hard on tracking that water, making sure you're getting enough, even if you don't, feel like you need it. And clearly, if you're in a hot climate, if you have illness, fever, vomiting, diarrhea, that's pretty self-explanatory, but make sure you stay hydrated.
Yep. All right. I believe that wraps up our series on the 5 things you should do every day. To recap, number 1, we talked about sleep. Mm-hmm. Number 2, we had talked about protein, getting in roughly 1 gram of body weight per day. Number 3, we chatted about getting 7,000 to 10,000 steps in per day. And number 4, today we covered getting in some daily gratitude. And number 5, a half gallon to 1 gallon of water per day.
Yeah, so I mean, BFit, if you're looking for a place to start to maximize your health and you're not looking at all these areas, look at one and pick one and just start focusing on one of these.
Absolutely.
Just to get started.
And just remember that they will kind of feed off of one another, and you start one. In most situations, it's going to carry over into another one of these 5, and it's just going to help that out. And you'll notice it'll be kind of like a snowball effect. They'll all tend to gradually creep their way in there. All right, we will catch you next month on episode 7 of the BFit Blueprint. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the BeFit Blueprint podcast. If you would, please subscribe, like, comment, and share on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, or whichever platform it is that you listen to the BeFit Blueprint podcast.